dogs. And Target is the only place you can find them and all their gear. Come join the fun and jam with us. Love is all you need.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Sin's Chat Corner. I know it's been like a God's age since I've been on the air, and I apologize for that. I've just had just a slew of personal things and other things and all sorts of compilations of indecision to try to figure out. I'm very happy to report that I am back on air, and not only am I on Sin's Chat Corner, I'm also going to be continuing my Samcore radio stint and additionally adding Sin's Canadian Connections. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about all that at the end of my show because we don't want to keep my guests waiting. Very, very excited to report today, and thank you so much to Bridget O'Brien, my dear friend, my sweetheart, my gem. She always brings in the most wonderful people to my show. And today is obviously no exception because we're going to be speaking to, forgive me, Qwana, which hopefully she will correct me in 30 seconds. We're going to put her on the air and we're going to speak to her. She's an author. She resides out of New Jersey. I know that she has done the Friends in Your Pocket Conversation Session 1 is what we're eventually going to be talking about, along with her life and all of lots of other things. So without further ado, I'm going to get her on the line and we'll get the interview started. Well, good evening.
Hi. Good evening. How are you?
I'm excited. I'm so excited. I've been hearing your praises for like 2 days now.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I have. I've been talking to people and saying, hey, I'm going to be interviewing this author, and then I talked to Bridget, and then I spoke to Jamie, and I've been speaking to other individuals, and I'm like, oh, my goodness, you come highly recommended, my dear.
Oh, well, thank you, and thank everybody for recommending me. It's a pleasure and an honor to be with you tonight.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for accommodating me. I'm so sorry we had to push it just an hour behind. Sometimes you know how those things are. It's just unexpected stuff that comes up, and I felt so badly, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, it's just an hour, but sometimes an hour makes all the difference in the world.
Oh,
so
no,
we're both here, and I'm excited. Awesome, absolutely. Now, so I don't make an ass out of myself because I do that quite often enough. You need to help me actually say your name because I'm so afraid of messing it up. I'm like, I did.
You said it right. Yeah, actually.
Okay.
And, so I get all type of variations of it, but you said it exactly right, Qwana. That's fine.
Qwana. Okay, so Qwana's fine. I was just going to do Q for the old interview, and I thought that's going to be kind of rude, so let's just not do the Q thing.
People call me Q, so that's fine. That's also
Oh, my God, look at that. Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, this is good. We're going to get along just swimmingly well. Thank you so much.
You are
I want to start off this interview a little differently than what I normally do because usually I have this format and it's gotten kind of mundane to me and I never like to be bored on my show and I don't like anyone else to be bored, so we're going to spice it up just a little bit, but not too much. We're not going to get too crazy today because I don't want people screaming at me. But we're going to go in an inverse direction here. We're going to talk a little bit about you personally distinctively hold just a vast amount of life roles. And when I say that, I mean, obviously, I know you're a wife and a mother, a sister, an author, and I believe a woman of great spiritual soul. So I felt compelled to inquire, maybe before we start the show, what is one role that you're most desirous of obtaining in your lifetime that you haven't achieved as of yet? One thing, one role.
One thing, I guess being an award-winning writer, and just sit up there with some of the greats, but in an unconventional way because I think this is quite an unconventional book. It's not taking the traditional route, in writing, and it's not talking about things in a traditional manner. So I want to be able to open the door for creativity, and if that can be recognized by my peers, that would be awesome.
Oh, absolutely. Are there particular – now, I want to ask this because I obviously have been out to New York before, and I live in Wisconsin, so I'm a Midwest girl. So I know here, marketing-wise and in our field in particular, do you find yourself and the capability or the ability, I should say, to have more doors open for you, meaning in the New York market per se? Let's say we've got somebody listening that's from Wisconsin, Illinois, someplace in a little town of Idaho or Iowa. Do you feel yourself more blessed and fortunate because of where you are centrally located? Does that offer more opportunities to you, or do you think it's possible to have the same kind of success elsewhere?
I think it's possible to have success everywhere as long as you have a great message and you're not willing to give up. And, you're just speaking to the hearts of other people. I think that's what's been a blessing to me, that in the time that we live in, people are always looking for something positive. So I've been able to provide that on a daily basis, all day long, and in my personal life. It's not like something I just do for the computer or, or interviews or whatever. Anybody who knows me knows my spirit and knows my soul. So I believe that hope is just catchy, and it doesn't matter where you're at. You can be in Alaska, you can be in Wisconsin, you can be in Yakima, Washington State, and if you if you have a message and you're not willing to give up and you're not taking no for an answer, I think you can do just fine. I actually think in the manner, like, if you live in New York, kind of, everybody's so guarded. So when you're talking all this happy-go-lucky stuff, so it's actually work. But, when you come from a place like the Bronx, like I do, sometimes I think that stuff doesn't work. People are, like, very guarded against that and suspicious of people that are always happy. So the fact that it's actually working here is, almost shocking to me sometimes.
Oh, I gotcha. I was just going to mention that to you because, as we all are, obviously I'm an author and you're an author yourself. I guess one thing I always like to ask somebody is, let's just pretend for a moment that you had never gone down the yellow brick road, I should say, to becoming an author. Was there ever a mindset or thought in your mind, what were you going to do with your life prior to doing this? Did you have yourself carved out in a whole other direction?
Yeah, Amy, my life has taken so many twists and turns. I went from thinking that I was going to be an OBGYN for most of my life to going into psychology and then becoming a social worker, working with children, and now I'm actually still working, and I work in juvenile detention center for boys. So any place I've ever been in life, I've never seen myself doing that. I also was a fashion designer for a while and did stuff that, for hip-hop magazines and whatnot. So I've done a little bit of everything, and it's always been what I wanted to do. I never did what, people thought I should do. I always took my own route. So, I saw myself writing only because it was always something that was a part of my life. But it was like, when will I do it? When will I actually sit down and get it done? So it wasn't like the what, because I knew I could do it. It was just, when was it going to happen for me? When was I going to slow down just a little bit so I have the time to actually get it done?
Sure. Makes perfect sense, obviously. And then they wonder why I was so excited to talk to her. Hello, doesn't take any rocket science to figure this out. Okay, I want to go a little bit because I like to talk, and she's laughing at me. We were only 7 minutes in. This is kind of scary. You should see me. Last time it was my birthday party, I was drinking at that one. This one I'm sober today, so you got the sober me, thank God.
Good.
Doing my job straight.
Okay.
Thanks.
I could have handled you either way. That's fine.
On that note, let's get the wine out. Okay, no, I'm kidding. I want to talk a little bit because to those that are listening may not necessarily have the type of background that we do. I always find it intriguing to ask this question. So maybe you could detail for our audience maybe the writing methods or techniques that you personally utilize in creating what you deem to be a successful piece of literature.
None.
Good answer. The author has none. Good.
Nothing that I've ever learned. It was so weird because I loved reading books when I was younger, and I read ferociously as a kid. And so I just loved something that could transport my mind. I didn't care, how it was, broken down or, chapters. I just needed it to take me and transport me into a whole nother mindset. And if it didn't do that within the first 2 to 3 pages, then I would immediately get bored, put it down, and move on to the next book. So the only thing, that I've taken from that I learned from books is that has to be interesting. I believe that a lot of people are fearful to pick up books. I work with young boys right now. I work with girls. Girls read a little bit more than boys. But the boys are very fearful to pick up a book because their fear is that they're not going to understand what they're reading and that they're going to have to ask for help or that they may have to read it out loud. So I definitely wanted to make my book very friendly to anyone who could pick it up. I don't want to use a whole bunch of big words and go on too long because everybody has ADHD. No one wants to sit and read, for hours on end. But I wanted people to get the message very quickly. So what I did was, it was an experiment in social media. I would always post on Facebook or Instagram and Twitter, and people would just, if people connected with the message within the first hour, and I was getting a lot of reactions, I knew that was what I needed to be writing about. So that's what I did. I was, I kept in mind that I need to hold your attention, but I also need to have you get the message, so you walk away feeling good. So that's all I did. I didn't use any traditional method of writing at all.
Look at that. Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, this one might be a little bit easier. Maybe further. In what directions have you ventured as far as finding personal inspiration, or even not even so much personal inspiration, but what inspires you to sit down and say, hey, I'm going to grab a notebook, I'm going to grab this? Where do you find that from?
First, I have to say it comes from God, because I would sit and I would get, just thoughts, and I'm like, wow, that's really good. Not even understanding where it was coming from, but it had a lot to do with what was going on in my world and other people's world, and I would say it or write it, and I'm like, that is really good stuff. And I'm just really inspired, if it's not by spirituality, it's definitely by people and the strength of people. I always cry when I hear a really good, feel-good story about people that have been downtrodden and have made it and overcome all type of obstacles. So I'm always, drawn to those stories and to those people. And, just knowing if they can do it, you can do it too. And then you want to pay it forward. So you want to do that. You want to inspire other people because, the people that I'm interested in, another person might not be interested in, but they might be interested in me, and seeing me do good. And I've seen that in my own personal life just by the things that I've done, and I have inspired people just on my level. So imagine if you have a whole bunch of people just inspiring women, children, men, and, we can change the game. So I'm inspired by people that change the game.
Gotcha. Makes sense. And I wonder if you feel kind of the same way I do, because I know I've had this thought before, in that I've woken up a couple of times and thought, oh, shit, what if today's the day where everything dries up and I can't write anything anymore and I'm completely done and I can't feel that? I mean, do you ever feel that, not quandary necessarily, but just having that fear?
I haven't. My brother asked me that, and he was like, what if, you have no more ideas? And I was like, wow, I believe that as long as you're tuned into life, you'll always have an idea. Yeah, you get your moments, where you're kind of working on a piece in your head and you want to make sure you say it right. So you kind of can get stuck on a certain subject for like a couple of days, sometimes some hours, and then you're like, okay, it's time to get that out of my head and get it on paper. So my biggest fear a lot is that I have so many different thoughts at this time that I'm not going to get every single thought, and sometimes I miss something. Right. And I literally wake up out my sleep, and, if I'm thinking about something in my sleep, I will wake up and make sure that I record it somehow. That way I don't forget it. So my biggest fear right now is just forgetting things that are really good. We go about our lives and we're sitting in meetings or we're talking, to friends and family, and I'm not always going. They don't know that. They don't know that I'm thinking about the next page. I'm really not tuned into what they're saying. I'm listening, I'm trying, but I'm thinking about what my next big, chapter is going to be. So I think as long as I stay tuned in to the world around me, and with God's help, I will always have things to say. But, I mean, if I didn't, that would be very, I guess that would be sad. But I'm going to play on it, and that doesn't happen.
No kidding, right? Because I'm like, every day I'm like, okay, is this going to be good? Is it going to be good? Every time I pick up the paper, I'm like, oh, my God, am I going to be able to finish this? But now I think I've gotten comfortable. I think it's just practice and time. I think over time, as you create, and get better and better and better, it does seem to get a little bit easier. And surrounding yourself with like-minded, beautiful people who are good at what they do. See, this is exactly why I'm good at what I do.
I couldn't agree with you.
Exactly.
Definitely.
There you go. Now, I'd like to expound upon what you yourself have previously prefaced as a talent that you possess, which is bringing the gift of word to the masses. Maybe provide to our listeners, I always like to say the who, what, when, why, and how of this, let's say. So what got you to discover that you have this ability, meaning bringing the gift of word to people? Explain that to us a little bit.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so when I was younger, I would always write. I was always writing poems if I got in trouble. I wrote a poem about getting in trouble and what I got in trouble for, and I was always writing these very creative stories. And, sometimes getting in trouble in school because my stories would be edgy or, it wouldn't be with the teacher, that traditional route, and that's probably why I have strayed away from going the traditional route in writing a book. And so I was always writing. And about age 14, I went to a public school, no. It was a private school, an independent school in Harlem, New York, called the Children's Storefront. And someone read about me in the New York Times. I was 13 going on 14 at the time. Very smart, and I was worried about not having money to go to college. And this guy read about me and said, okay, this girl doesn't have, our family can't afford to send her to college or high school. I will pay for both. The catch was that I had to write an autobiography of my life because I had been through some things and he had read about those things. So I'm like, okay. I agreed to do it. And, summer came and the idea just went out the window. I said, I can't do it. But it wasn't until I got a little bit older I realized it wasn't that I didn't want to do it. It was that the things that I was going through, I was still living. I was still living in those things, and I guess it was too fresh, and too kind of, brutal to write about it as I was still going through it. So I didn't do it. So I would still write, always kept notebooks. Didn't keep a traditional journal. I didn't keep a diary. I tried, but it didn't work. But I was always writing in something, stopping and starting. And so February 2008, I got into a situation with the police department in New York City. And I was arrested and, just treated, kind of beat up, treated very poorly, and put in jail for 3 days. And it was very traumatic. And during that situation, I was in that cell and I was thinking about why is this happening? I'm living my life, in a way that's pleasing to the Lord. I'm raising my kids, married, I work. I'm a law-abiding citizen. Why is this happening? I knew why it was happening. Obviously it was because of where I lived and it was the color of my skin. That's just it. That's just how it goes, and you know that. And it's like, okay, this happened to so many people before me. It even happened to Gandhi, and it happened to Jesus, and it happened to Martin Luther King, and it happened to anybody who fought for civil rights. And that's what I was doing at the time. So once I came out of that situation, I was very, very depressed. I was on trial for a year. The actual trial lasted 3 days, and I was acquitted on all charges. The police officer, in connection with it, admitted to what he had done, and, I was let go. But during that time, I was very depressed, because I was trying to figure out why this was happening. But I wasn't angry with God, and I never questioned his motive. I knew something was coming out of it. I just didn't know what. So we lived where I lived at for 28 years. And everybody said, you know what, maybe it's time to move. Maybe God is telling you got to move. And I'm like, move where? We have 401k money, we have pension money, but we have no money saved up, that we can touch. How are we going to move with what money, right? So one day I said, you know what, that's what it's there for. Let's buy a house. And, we, just living in a just dream world, I call it. Me and my husband decided, okay, let's go house hunting. We started going house hunting. We find the dream home. I'm like, there's no way we're getting this house. And we got it. It took us a little while to get it, but then we got it. So then we moved in this house, and everyone lives here with us. It's our 2 sons. It's my brother. It's my mom. And, we're just one big family. So we all moved into this house, and everybody's, kind of getting on with life. And it's a change for me because I grew up and raised my kids in the same room I grew up in. I had been in that same room since I was 6 years old. So I kind of felt lost, but I knew I didn't want to go back to where we left. So one day I was looking out the window, and I was like, just talking to God, what can I do? Why do I feel so, lost, I don't belong? And he said, Right. And I said, okay. And, I've been writing ever since. And it took about 4 months for the book to, actually take on its whole form. But everything happened the way it needed to happen. And that's it. That's the nuts and bolts of it. And that was Friend in Your Pocket, because at the time I was going through my situation. Of course, my family knew what I was going through because they were right there with me. But it was friends. I had friends that I had for years. And no one really knew what was going on. And, people call you with their daily drama, but no one really cares enough to ask, what's going on with you? How's the case? And this and that. And I thought about that. And I thought about the masses of people that are going through life experiences that are, traumatic and horrific. And people are not paying attention to one another. People are not asking each other, are you okay? How was your day? No one's really checking in. So I said, you know what? That has to be brought to attention. You can't just go on Instagram or Facebook and think saying hi or liking a picture is checking in. I have to pick up the phone.
Right.
So that
exactly.
was the birth of Friend in Your Pocket, yeah.
Gotcha. Now, I'm curious and listening to that story, actually. One of the things that kind of hit home to me, or what I wanted to ask about was, let's say, for instance, that none of those things had happened. Do you feel that your course of writing or what transpired or what eventually came out of you would have been different? Do you think that these experiences were necessary to have such creativity?
I think so. I think sometimes the soul has to be shaken and stirred in order for the good stuff to rise up. Sometimes we just, go through life and we're not paying attention. That woke me up, that experience. And every time I've gone through a traumatic experience or watched my peers or someone in my family go through a traumatic experience, it wakes you up spiritually because it opens chambers that you don't use because you don't have a use for them. So it's like working out. You work out and you find muscle groups that you never knew you had. And, when it's sore and you can't walk up the stairs and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that can hurt. So it's like that. It's like sometimes you have to be shaken. And the passage in the book, the chapter in the book that talks about that, the incident is called The Storm That Brought the Calm, because that's exactly what it did. It brought calm. It put my whole life into perspective. It let me know that everything that I was worried about, bills and this and that and all this nonsense, when you're sitting in a cell, time stands still. Bills aren't getting paid. You aren't going to work. The people that depend on you cannot depend on you because you're there. And you don't know what's going on. You have no control over your life at this point. And so I'm somebody who's a go-getter. I'm always doing it. I make sure I pay all the bills. I make sure I do this. I'm the go-to girl. You need to know something? Call Qwana. You know what I'm saying? You need something done? Call me. So what happens when you remove that go-to person out of the equation?
Sure.
You realize that people are just going to go on. But when you're that person, you think, oh, my God, life is going to fall apart without me. But it's not.
Right.
And I needed
I know
to
exactly
see
what
that.
you mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I needed to see that.
I agree.
And I guess that was God's way of showing me that they'll be okay. So if you have dreams and aspirations and other things you want to do, you are free to do that. You don't have to put your life on hold for everybody else in order to do those things. They'll be okay.
I agree.
So,
I agree. 100%. Oh, my goodness. My goodness. Now, I wanted to touch on this component, another component of you, because there's just so many facets of you that I find so intriguing. So don't mind me if I just kind of fawn all over you, because that's what I do to my guests. I do. Question. One component of your lifestyle that I find interesting, because obviously I'm, for one, unfamiliar, so we're going to talk about it for just a little bit because I'm a novice as it relates to this. And to those of you that do not know, Qwana is actually of the Muslim faith, which I do not come across very often, to tell you the truth. So there was two questions that I wanted to cover in regards to that. First of which, obviously, if you can give us just a brief summary as it relates to what surrounds the Muslim faith, because most of us, like for instance, I'm a Catholic, and most people that I know are not of the same faith vernacular, so to speak. So maybe if we could go into a brief description as it relates to that. And then moreover, do you find yourself incorporating certain beliefs of this religion into your writings?
Okay. As I clear my throat. It's so weird. I was raised Muslim as a child. It's my father's idea.
Okay.
My mom was raised Christian, right? And so she kind of put our Christianity to the side, being in this marriage. My dad left when I was about 12. So that kind of left us like, okay, what do you do? With me, my mom never really participated in, Islam. I did Ramadan with my dad. I read the Quran. That was one of the first books that I, started reading. And so it kind of left me in a weird space because I didn't have that mentor who was walking me through that in the home anymore. So I was always seeking spirituality. So I actually went to the church across the street from my house, and it's a Baptist church. So what I found in that Baptist church, because I was always in church. My grandmother was the Eastern Star, and she was heavy into the church. And every Christmas, I was the person who did the opening remarks for whatever Christmas program they were having in our church. So I was always in church, although I was being raised as a Muslim. So it was just always so weird because I felt, now I call it bi-religional because I was definitely immersed in two worlds at the same time. So I've recently joined my mom's church, which I guess is my church now, about 2 years ago. And, you know, and I told them, you know, like, this is kind of tough for me because the things that I, you know, learned growing up, it's not any different. You know, the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, you know, when you study Buddhism, you know, Hinduism, you all want the same thing, that love, you know, the brotherhood, you know, that one love vibe. Everybody wants that, you know, and I just think we get to it differently. And right now, I can't, like, say that I'm either one or the other. I just feel like I'm a combination of everything that I've learned over the years. But the takeaway from that is that I want love. I want people to respect one another. I want to do the right thing, whatever, you know, is pleasing and would be in God's favor. And I think in every religion, that's basically the bottom line. You want to walk, you know, in faith. And so that's what I'm doing. So I haven't practiced Islam, you know, in a very long time. But I still read, you know, I still read the Quran. I still read the Bible. I read everything. I'm one of those people that read everything. And it was funny because when I went to college, my first class was an honors. It was an honors English class. But for whatever reason, he had us read the Bible, the Torah, and the Holy Quran. And I was like, you know, why are we doing this? And he said, well, to be good at whatever you are, whatever one you choose, you have to know about the other. And that opened up something in my head, and I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. You know, because how can you talk against something that you don't understand? That makes no sense. Correct. So that gave me, that made me so much more dynamic. And so this is what you have. You have, like, I'm like this mutt, religious mutt, and I take every little thing that I can get out of every other religion, and if I like it, I apply it to my life because I think that's what you should do if it's the right thing. Because at the end of the day, it's about doing the right thing, and that's it. And does it come out in my writing? Definitely, you're gonna get the point that I'm definitely into my spirituality, that I'm definitely after God's heart, you know, and I definitely want to live right and in accordance to those rules. So I believe anybody could read it. I actually reverence the Bible more than anything in the book. So I do, you know, I have, you know, verses from Luke, verses from John. I do talk about the Bible a lot in the book. You know, it comes up. So you can't help it, you know, because if you're rooted in the Word, it just comes out, you know. So, but it's not preachy, and that's what I like about it. And that's what a lot of young people like about it, is that they feel like, okay, good, I'm getting a good word, but I'm not feeling like I'm being preached to, you know, and making people feel bad about not going to church and whatnot. It actually is helping people to kind of feel like, okay, if this is the kind of person that goes to church, and this is a regular person, she's not, you know, Bible-toting fanatic and, you know, talking bad about everybody who doesn't go to church, then, okay, maybe I'll be open to going to church for Christmas or going to church for New Year's Eve, you know, instead of being dragged in there by your parents.
I hear you. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It definitely comes up, and it does affect, because I want people to feel positive. And in anything that you know, anything that's spiritual, you have to have some type of positivity. So it definitely shows up.
Makes sense. Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you for that. Okay. Before we get into some of the more serious stuff, which is what we call background and books and all that wonderful stuff that you do, I'm very blessed, just to let the audience know, that I happen to be a Facebook friend of yours. So when you get to be the Facebook friend, I get to see the good stuff, which means not everybody else does. So let me just get you, I'm going to give you a few little ditties here. First of all, I found this kind of cool, because currently, if you go onto your page, I noticed that your profile picture displays both yourself and the guru herself of television, Wendy Williams.
As the queen of all media.
Yes, that's right. Well, some may say Oprah, some may say Wendy Williams, some say Ellen DeGeneres, because we both love Ellen DeGeneres. But
I love her.
Wendy, now talk to me about that. What path did you have to take to get to Wendy Williams? And of course, has it contributed at all to the success of your work?
It's
Meaning,
so
has it made it better, I should say.
Well, yeah, the picture definitely draws people in. Like, oh, wow, she knows Wendy. Disclaimer alert. I don't know her personally. I just happen to be blessed to be able to meet her and talk to her about, I want to say, 1997. I bumped into Wendy at a restaurant that is, I'm dating myself. But I bumped into her in a restaurant called the Motown Cafe. It's no longer in existence. It was in Midtown Manhattan. And for some reason, I've been around her ever since. I would always be in places she was, and we have mutual friends. A good girlfriend of mine actually works for her. So, it was me going to a random book signing slot. You just listening to God. And when he tells you to move, when the Spirit says move and do something, never second guess it. I was watching the show, and I said, I would love to go to one of her book signings, but, I still work, so I'm like, I can't make it. And she says, I'm going to be in Rutherford, New Jersey at 7 o'clock tonight. Just blurt it out. And I'm looking, and I'm saying, I work until 9, but I can do it. I can leave early. And someone told me, just go. And I went, me and my husband, we moseyed on down there. And instead of it just being her signing the book, it turned into a full-on conversation. And she told me that my book was going to be Gone with the Wind Fabulous. And the version that I had in my hand, that I should lock it in a safe deposit box because it was going to be worth a lot of money somewhere along the line. And for her to prophesize over my book like that without even knowing what it was about, it was amazing to me because she didn't have to do that. She gave me some really good encouragement. And, she took the picture. She was gracious enough to take the picture with me and our books together. And I just thought that was so cool because I have been following her career since she was on the radio at the smaller radio station, and she got really big. And so I grew up with Wendy, so that was just like meeting my hip-hop Oprah, so to speak. So that was just like, it was dope. It was very awesome. So I'm blessed for that. And I know I'm going to be sitting on that couch one day really soon. I'm confident of that.
Well, perhaps I can do the flip for you. I can do enough begging and pleading to get her on my show. Like, if I can get her on my show, then you can call in, and then it's almost like having the two of you together, only we're having you on a phone instead of in person. Wouldn't it, though? It would be lovely. I've been trying to get my fantasy guy for 2 years now, though. You see, I've been trying to get my idol on this show and get a date with him for 2 years. I don't know what I have to do. I just don't know what I have to do. Oh, my God. You must not have ever looked at my Facebook page. Every single flipping day, I got Kiefer Sutherland on my page. He's on my page every day. The actor, Kiefer Sutherland, the Canadian. I even developed I developed a whole radio show for him. He inspired me. Him and his mother inspired me. I'm actually going to be interviewing his mother on my show. I'm very, very excited about that. Shirley Douglas, who's an amazing lady. Yes. So I've been trying for 2 years. I swear to you, I'm getting closer. I mean, once you get to the mom, you're like getting pretty close.
The mom. You're good. Get in there.
Yeah. I'm trying. Hey, I got Qwana. We're not even talking Shirley Douglas right now. I got you, okay? That's about as high up as we can go here, okay? Just saying.
I'm here.
Okay, now we've talked about Wendy, so now let's talk about a few similarities here. It's kind of funny because I happen to be looking, and without knowing it, you and I actually share quite a few parallel hobbies in that we both like Renee Graziano, which is going to lead me to believe that you and I are both freaks of meeting Real Housewives in the Bravo franchise. Love them, love them, love them, love them. Ellen, of course, who doesn't love Ellen? I mean, Ellen is just the consummate, she's just fabulous. There's just nothing about Ellen I don't like. I just love her.
She's a light.
Ellen DeGeneres, of course.
Yes, she's a
amazing.
Bubble of hope and positivity. I love Ellen. She's really fascinating. And to watch her ride.
And she's very, well, definitely. And she's very in tune with what she is and who she is and what she's capable of. And she's very comfortable in her relationship. And I'm like, that's just amazing, because you don't always get that. So, yeah, I definitely admire her. And then I noticed, of course, Tom Joyner from Tom Joyner Morning Show, which I absolutely love and have listened to on a variety of occasions, and Maya Angelou, but who, of course, is a writer who does not love and admire Maya. I mean, she's just, I can't even, words just, I can't even go there. I just can't. I also thought it was so cute, and I have to touch on this because we're all about the love on this show, too, because I just happened to notice that your little wedding anniversary is right around Valentine's Day. What up with that? Was that planned, or did that just happen?
No, it just God. Again, he shows up all the time. Like, he just knocks on my door and he says, come on. So it goes back 23 years, the story. It was after Valentine's Day party. The legendary DJ Kid Capri was throwing this Valentine's Day party at this club. It's a boys and girls club, but it's called Milbank. So we go down. I go down there. All my friends are on punishment. I'm like, I have to go. I don't know why I have to go, but I knew I had to go. I get there, and I'm with one other girlfriend. We're dancing, and I meet my husband. He was my boyfriend.
My God.
He was my boyfriend for 12 years, and now he's been, my husband for the last, what is that, 13 years. So, yeah, we're going on. Hold on, my math is wrong. He was my husband for 11 years before we got married, and now we've been married 13 years.
Can you remember? Interesting.
I know.
That's lovely,
I was
isn't it?
14 years old. Yeah, 14. God knows he knew exactly what I needed, and he sent me him. So I did not do it on purpose to make him get me extra gifts. I didn't, I promise.
Really? Okay. So it wasn't actually like one of those sneaky sort of, oh, my God, it's Valentine's Day. It's a cliche thing to do, because I thought that was just so very romantic. I thought that was really cute. Just a Valentine's Day thing is neat.
Yeah. No, it just happened that way. So we don't really even celebrate Valentine's Day. It's like not a big deal, because the big deal is the very next day. So I don't hit them in the pocket. I give them a break.
Of course. Now, have you been blessed and fortunate enough, which I can only ascertain or assume, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to go on a limb here and say that your husband, how has he reacted to all this, the success and the life change that I'm sure has come with going into the lifestyle you're in now as far as being a successful author?
I think he loves it, because I'm always doing something. I always have an idea, and I always follow through. And he's always been encouraging. You can do it, go ahead and do it. And a lot of guys, even a lot of women always question, why does he let you do certain things? And I'm like, let you. Okay, let me. No, he doesn't let me do anything. He's my partner in everything that I do. So whatever I do is always going to be for the benefit for the team. So it's always been like, hey, you want to do that? Go ahead. I mean, I was wearing pink hair. I started wearing royal blue hair at 9 years old. So by the time he met me, I was already, just as strange as they came. And he accepted me for that. So I went totally pink about 98, 99. And people would say, why you let her do that? Why, because, and he loved it. I think men just love women that are just full of energy. I guess I'm almost like the equivalent of Along Came Polly. That would be me. I just totally turned his life upside down, but in a positive way. And he likes it. He sits back and he watches me. Sometimes you can catch him watching, and it's like he's proud. So he's a proud papa. So, he embraces it. He loves it. He's actually like,
and as far as
well,
and that's the other thing, too, that I was talking about the other day, because I, of course, have children as well. And so, of course, I'm going to be the first one to admit, yes, that's right. I try to pump 24/7 and say to them, you want to be a writer, and then look at me like we hate English. And I'm just like, you're killing me, right? You're just putting the knife right in my back right here, because they totally are not digging it. So I guess my question to you as a mom is, would it be disappointing to you if you find that your children don't relish that same passion or don't follow in your footsteps?
No, because I know they hate books. So I already know that. So it's like, it's like pulling teeth to get them to read books for themselves. My youngest son just graduated high school, and he'll be going on prep school in the fall. So, I know the struggle that it took to get them to study. So my thing has been always with the children, do your passion. Do your passion, and as long as it can help you pay bills, then it's even better. It's a win-win situation. But I never want them to do something that I think they need to do, because half the time I don't know what I'm going to be doing. So it would be very strange for me to, tell them, you need to be doing this or you need to be doing that, because I know that life can take you in a whole bunch of different directions. What I do need to do is read the book. They need to read the book in totality. That would make me feel good. So I don't know how I'm doing with that yet, but, I'll get there one day.
Definitely. I gotcha. I understand. That's fine. Now, I wanted to cover a little bit about, I'm going to give the audience just a glimpse of your educational makeup because some of them probably don't know. I know you attended the University Heights High School and then proceeded to City College of New York in the year 2000. And I know currently that you're employed by the Department of Juvenile Justice. Two questions in that. First off, as an author, do you find it monumentally essential to complete your education to find success? By that I mean, like, for instance, I went to school and then I went to college for a year, then I had kids, and then I dropped out. Now I've become a published author. I've done everything I want to do, and I didn't finish my education. So how monumentally important do you feel it is to follow through with that?
Well, it's a catch-22. I believe that education does not necessarily have to happen in a traditional school setting. I've always been a kid that I've read books that weren't, required reading. I watched stuff on the History Channel that wasn't something that, a kid should be watching. I just did all the different things. I was always inquisitive, always wanted to learn about stuff, always wanted to know how things worked. I was naturally curious, so I excelled in science because I always, I love to open up things and see how they work, frogs and shit. So I believe that you have to have a natural curiosity in order to be successful in anything that you do. Because you can have, and I've worked with, and I'm quite sure you've been around people who have had PhDs. I've worked at, doctorate level people, and they don't have good common sense. Not all of them, just not me in general, but I've worked with people that have all these, letters in front of their name, and it's like they're robotic. So I think for some people, going to school is, what you need to do to get ahead. And, clearly if you're working with numbers or something like that, or, in bank or whatever, you're going to need to go and, get a degree in accounting and everything. But I think for things like that are your passion. You have people that build cars that never went to an engineering program. They just know how cars work. You have people, that, that just haven't finished college and went on to make millions and billions of dollars. You have people like, look at Jay-Z. He didn't finish high school. Beyonce didn't finish high school. Michael Jackson didn't finish high school. We're looking at people who didn't have formal education, but they had the talent, and that's different.
Correct.
And I think we all are born with a God-given talent, but a lot of times, we lose sight of the talent because we're told that we have to go to school, we have to do these things. And then you get people that get turned off with the idea of going to school forever and then owing, and owing a bank forever. And then they just settle with, I'll just take this job and I'll just do that. And it's not until like much later on in life they say, I really could draw. I should have been an artist, or I could write. I should have been a writer. I feel like if you have a talent, use it now. That's what it's given to you for. But we have to be strong enough and confident enough to tell our parents or, for ourselves, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to follow through with this dream and this aspiration, my talent, opposed to going the traditional route. And that's what Friend in Your Pocket is all about. It's about that. It's about doing what makes you happy. And if what makes you happy, it's going to make you successful at the same time. Because no one, wants to keep waking up every day and hating what they do for a living. But knowing they got to do it because they have mortgage and car note and this and that. And, So why not do what makes you joyful and, and it can be successful at the same time? That's a win-win. And I think those are the most joyful, happiest people, the people that you see actually doing their talent, So
I agree 100%.
I don't necessarily, subscribe to the view that you have to go to college. No, I don't. No.
Good answer. Definite good answer.
I'm an artist. I can't say that.
Good answer. Awesome. Now, on the flip side, because I got to thinking about this today. I'm like, okay, obviously I know that you served as a case manager and worked in a detention center for boys. Now, that whole genre, or just working within that environment, has it ever just tapped across your mind where you thought, oh, this would be an amazing book topic? I mean, has it brought to light some things that you think need more exposure that you might write about?
The whole job in general is something that, it's like an underworld. This is subculture. Me and my coworkers, we talk about it all the time. When I was younger, and I grew up in the Bronx, so I had friends that would get in trouble, or people that grew up in the neighborhood that would get in trouble, and you wouldn't see them again until they were like grown men, right? You knew they went somewhere. You didn't know where they went. They just went away. They got in trouble. They went away, and you see them again when they're 18. And so when I took this job, I'm like, okay, this is where they used to go. You know, it was like that abyss that people go in, and then you're like, oh, this is where they were all going. And it's so sad. It's a very, very sad existence. And then you can understand why this. You can see a kid, because I work with boys. I worked with the girls first, and now I work with the boys. And you can literally see the person that they're going to be in 10 years. But if there is some type of intervention, somebody that can reach their spirit and reach their soul, there can be a change. And I really would love to bring light on the juvenile justice system, because it is failing our children. It is not helping our children. You know, you get a kid that goes away to this place for 4 or 5 years. He's not receiving a formal education. He's receiving a subpar education, you know, and being socially promoted. And then you churn him out at 18 years old, a kid that can barely read, poor social skills. What do you think is going to happen to that kid? What do you think they're going to do? They're going to get into trouble again, and it's going to be a never-ending cycle, you know, because the self-esteem is in the toilet. So I believe that, you know, we have all these people that give money to all these causes, and that's all fine and good. But on our home soil, we have our children who are struggling to survive. And I think more light has to be shown on this, you know, category of children, so we can, you know, make better adults. Because these kids are talented. A lot of the kids that I work with are highly talented. They are Picassos. They are our next generation of songwriters and singers and seamstresses, and they're naturally talented, but they don't have the tools. And when they go back into the community, they don't have the resources to, you know, to make them a better person. So they just revert back to what's comfortable for them. So, yeah, definitely where I work is definitely a whole lot of books. It's a whole lot of books.
That's kind of what I figured, too. And I was like, what an intriguing – I know we've all had encounters with certain things, but that area in particular, you're totally touching on those things. That's a whole other show, or at least 2 shows in and of itself, sad to say. You know, it just makes me sad when I think about those sorts of things.
It's a lot of ground to cover.
Definitely. Oh, definitely. Now we're going to get into some of the good stuff here. Not that we haven't already, because I'm having so much damn fun. This is just too much fun. And this is about wine. Wow. Imagine this. This is good. Now, it was brought to my attention that I know that you had opted to attend the All That Jazz Red Carpet Fashion Show. I know you were there. And I know that you signed on as a sponsor for the upcoming event, which is on July 29th. Yes, Bridget, I'm pumping your event. July 29th, Stitch, New York City, which is the Carolyn Braun swimwear launch. So you'll be a sponsor for that. Now, first of all, maybe explain a little bit. Let's shed a little light on the swimwear launch and how you got connected with all of that, and what made the choice for you to provide. If I could talk today, let's try over. Sponsorship. What brought you to sponsoring the swimwear launch? How'd you get involved with that?
Well, see, Bridget is the bridge. She's the bridge to everything.
I know, right? Right?
Yeah,
okay.
She connects all the dots. So, you know, she put me with Kyle, and I said, you know what? I'd love to do it, because this opens up a whole other market for me as well, and it's vice versa, you know. So I love brand immersion. I think it's you know, the key to success. A lot of times you get people who are like, oh, I'm not going there, or I'm not doing this. I'm the type of person that says yes to everything, because I feel like wherever my book is planting seeds. Wherever I'm at, I'm planting seeds that are going to travel. And it goes back to your first question, like, could this book be successful out in the Midwest? You know, I may meet somebody at an event that lives in the Midwest, and they'll take their experience meeting me, reading my book, and now I have a fan base out there. So anything that I can be a part of, embracing, especially when it's something positive. This is a young woman who, you know, wants to do swimwear. I'm quite sure I can't wear any of her swimwear. However, it doesn't stop me.
Why is she saying that? What is that? Where did that come from? What?
I'm not putting on a bikini anytime soon.
Oh my God! Has no one ever told you you need to have faith in you and find your own beauty? Thank you.
Oh, heck yeah!
Out there.
But I won't be doing that. But I will be there.
No bikini for you, I guess. Okay.
And loving everything that I see, and just hoping that we can successfully marry my book in swimwear. You think about the vacation, summer reading, reading on the plane while you're going to vacation. So it's a whole bunch of ways you can spin it. But definitely want to always support women in business. That's important.
Gotcha.
And I love to see us as women of every color, every ethnicity. We're doing big things out there in the world like no other. And we're networking with each other. We're having the Leto Network, and we're making a lot of money as women doing it for ourselves. So I just want to be a part of anything that encourages women and young women to do your passion, do you. So that's why I'm going to be a part of it.
Okay, I've gotcha. Now, question for you. Because, of course, obviously you're getting more and more involved in some of these things, going to appearances and such, have you been able to meet some of the people that have personally influenced you as of yet? And if not, maybe you could just name a few for us as far as to who are your major influences.
Definitely Wendy Williams. I've met her, and I've met her a couple of times in my life. So I think that God keeps putting her in my path for a reason. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Timbaland, the music producer. I was out in Miami on family vacation and met him, gave him the book, and we had a nice conversation. And knowing his life story and how he came about, definitely inspiring to me. So, yeah, I've been blessed to meet him. I definitely would love, I guess the way you feel about Keisha Sutherland, I feel about Oprah. Who doesn't like Mama?
Really?
You what? I would just love to, to sit at her feet the way she sat. I would love to meet Mandela. Because let me tell you why. The place that I work is called the Nelson Mandela Non-Secure Detention for Boys. So I'm always praying that he gets better because I just would love to hug him just one good time. So I'm definitely inspired by so many people. Like I told you before, I'm inspired by people who came from nothing and who have made, great strides in what they're doing. I would love to meet Bill Gates. I would love to see what that looks like in person. The mind that changed the world. I mean, I would love to, just breathe his air. So there are definitely a lot of people that I would love to be able to sit with and network with and, actually bounce ideas off of being like, let's see how we can, merge together. So I think, yes, definitely there's a lot of people. I'm inspired by just about anybody that's doing something positive. Yes.
Gotcha. Now, will you or do you feel that at some point in time you yourself will be lending a hand and a heart to personal causes that are important to you someday, meaning charity work or more extensive charity work, do you think?
Absolutely. Definitely it would be working with, teenagers and tweens, that are struggling with, different issues such as child molestation or literacy, health crisis. I definitely want to help children. Children are my passion. I've been helping raising kids since I was 9 years old. So children are definitely my passion. Anything that I can do for children is something that it warms my heart. So definitely, I would definitely lend my hand to children, causes for children.
Gotcha.
Or anybody who invites me, and anybody who wants a friend in your pocket to help, I'm here. So I'm not limited just to children, but anybody who, it's an honor to be wanted. So I would work with just about any cause that was positive.
Of course. And obviously, part of that, I think, is not only just lending yourself, but it's all an attitude, too. I think a lot of times, you'll meet a lot of people who are willing to go out there and help, but going in there with a positive, passionate attitude and being very positive and encouraging and motivating, which you're very good at, always makes a huge difference, I think. I mean, that's just my own personal vernacular, but, it definitely does.
You can't just
now, I guess,
do it for a look.
Go ahead.
You have to, your heart has to be on it. You can't just do it because it's good PR. You have to do it because you want to do it, and you're passionate about it. So, yeah, you're right.
Certainly. I agree with you one bit. Now, before we go on to talking about this little thing called Friends in Your Pocket, which I think is your book. I'm kidding, everybody. Of course, that's your book. Before we talk about the book itself, anything nice you want to say about that Bridget girl? Because I always like to throw shout-outs to her. I mean, like, how did you formulate a partnership with this young lady? Because I got to say, she is hands down one of my favorite people. So I'm always curious how she meets her clients or what her clients think of her. So let's see what you've got to say about Bridge.
Here we go again. I have to say good old G-O-D. God is always working in my life. I, was sponsoring Jasmine Brown, the fashion designer. And, the question was always like, I need good representation. I need somebody who knows what they're doing. And Jazz's mom, Kimmy, said, hey, call Bridget. So it was a no-brainer. Sure. I saw how she was able to, help Jasmine. And then when I spoke to her on the phone, she was just so passionate about everything that she was doing. Yeah, and, she did balls to the wall. She went head first into her passion. And when you meet people that, you immediately connect to like-minded people. So that's how it came about. And she's worked hard. She does everything. She works so hard. She works 7 days a week. She called me
I know. It's like crazy.
Takes no days.
I know.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, when I came to New York, I was so very, very blessed that I got the whole night with her because I was like, oh, my gosh, we got to do dinner with Dana Humphrey. We got to go to see Rubik's Cube, which is so cool. Got to meet Gerard down at Webster Hall, which is awesome. I'm like, this would never happen. I'm lucky to get her on a phone. I mean, to even physically talk to her, I'm like, oh, my God. I just get so excited when I say, I'm coming to New York because then I actually get, like, FaceTime because otherwise that, like, never happens. So it's absolutely awesome. And further to that, one of my best friends who's also been a friend to Cindy Chat Corner and on my show, Jamie Hope, as I understand it, you were mutual acquaintances to her as well. So how did you cross her?
Yes. There we go again. Good old bridge, the bridge.
The bridge brings you everywhere, right?
Bridge to bridge. Yes, Jamie Hope.
Exactly.
She's a sweetheart. She's a sweetheart. She was actually my first radio interview, so she got some jitters out of me. Yep. So Jamie Hope, she was awesome. So Bridget again. Because I got this phenomenal woman. I need you to be on a show. I'm like, cool, no problem. I'm yes to everything. I'm like, okay, no problem. And then we rocked out. We had a good time.
Oh, definitely. And she's so, I mean, she is so inspiring to me just because of the fact she's always so very gracious and very kind to me. And I've always had this little self-esteem problem, and I always think, oh, my God, I'm going to go on this show and make an ass out of myself. And I don't know what I'm talking about. And it's 5 minutes before, and I'm freaking out and calling people like, oh, shit, someone's on my show today. And this is my passion, of course, the writing part anyways. And so she's inspiring, and she's wonderful, and she's always just putting me up on this huge pillar. And I think to myself, do you have any idea how the roles are reversed here? This isn't really me that should be on the pillar. It's really you. You live and breathe passion every day. So it's kind of like, I'm just kind of a middle chick just sitting around here like, okay, fine. So what can I say? Exactly. That's awesome. We share some mutual people here. Okay, I have. Yes, and definitely. Soulful, passionate people. I always surround myself. I've always said that I'm only as good as the people that surround me. So luckily for me, I surround me. I'm sorry?
What is your sign?
Oh, I'm a Cancer.
Oh, there you go. I'm a Taurus. So.
Look at that. Cancers wear their hearts on their sleeves, and I'm a no-nonsense, no-bullshit kind of girl. I pretty much call it like I see it. I'm like, this is the way it is. I either love you, or I like you, or I don't like you at all. I mean, there's 3 degrees for Cindy, and that's what there is. But when it comes... And I do try to tend to circulate with people that I really, truly love and adore that have these wonderful personalities. I like the creative types very much. I love anyone that, as you were touching on before, my firm belief is passion in every part of your life. You have to have passion with your children, in your relationships, in your job, with your friends, with everything that you do. And if you don't, you are surely missing out, because I surely don't write because I'm rich. I can tell you that right now. This writing gig ain't got me rich yet. Although if I keep adding like 4 more shows, then Mary Kiefer Sutherland will be really good. But until then,
I'm going to pray on it.
I'll be pumping radio. Yeah, exactly. So I have 2 more questions for you, my love, and then I will let you off the hook here. I wanted to ask you 2 things. First of all, I'm wanting to know, in what ways are you personally hoping to be a role model to others?
Okay. Answer now? Oh,
And
I was waiting for the second one.
that's actually a two-part question. I was thinking, should I ask you this? You know what, we're going to throw both out there. So for one, are you hoping to be a role model to others, and if so, in what ways? And then secondary to that, is there a succinct message that you are hoping that others will capture through your work?
Okay. So yes, I definitely, want to be a role model. I believe I'm already a role model, for so many people, old and young, and I know that. I'm very confident in my role in life is to be uplifting and inspiring. So I do know that, and I just want kids to know, and adults to know, because actually I'm quite old right now. I'm 37. So to be starting this chapter in life, like Joan Rivers, she started kind of, around the same age, to show people in that middle area of your life, look, it doesn't matter what happened before. You can change gears and do something that you really want to do, right? That's that part of it. For the younger kids, hey, look, you don't have to go all the way around the mulberry bush to decide what you want to do. If this is something that you want to do, go for it now. So by the time you get my age, you're already, where you need to be in life. So it goes both ways. It speaks to two different sets of people, but with the same values in mind. So I definitely want people to follow their passion, their talent. Follow it, because it leads to success. And in everything you do, put hard work. And just know, bad things happen to good people, but it doesn't mean that it has to be your life. You have to turn your pain into a plan, and that's been my life's work. So definitely, I just want to inspire people. I don't care what you've been through. As long as you have breath in your lungs, you can change the game, and you can play by your own rules, and you can have it all. They say, oh, you can't have it all. You can't have marriage. You can't have children. You can't have money. You can. And people that say that they don't have hope, they lack that faith. You can have it all if you work hard enough. It's not going to be easy, but you can have it. And then the next part. Okay. And the next part of the question was what again? I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. Is there one succinct message that you are wishing or hoping that others shall take away from reading, meaning when they're reading your work or going to the book? Is there one succinct message if one person was to go through? What are you trying to leave with people?
I want to leave with people that friendship is very important. Coming up, like I said, I grew up in New York, so you're always very suspicious of people, and you don't think, friendship isn't really valued. It's something that, you have friends, but are they really your friends, and all you can do is depend on your family. I want people to know that family is what you make it. A lot of my friends that aren't blood related to me have become a part of my family, because those are the people that I can call in the middle of the night if something is going wrong, or, those are the people that I can lean on as pillars of strength. So I want people to know that those values of having, family and friends, it's important. A lot of times we say, oh, I did everything by myself, and I'm this self-made person, and I'm just, but you can't live on the island of self all alone all the time. I want people to talk more, get the conversations going, get from behind a computer, and actually go out and do brunch with your girlfriends or your guy friends, and, share, raise your kids up to where they value friendship. So we can be more kinder to one another. So basically, that's what I want to take away. I want people to just start bonding on a human level. But in order to do that, you have to know yourself. So I definitely want people to kind of dig in, do the work, what it takes to bring whatever it is out of you. And then once you work on yourself, work on forging better friendships with people, even down to your kids. A lot of times we have, hang-ups that came with us from childhood trauma, and, we pass that on to our kids. I mean, how many stories have you heard where a parent doesn't hug their kid or doesn't tell a kid they're proud of them or doesn't tell a kid that they love them because their parent didn't do that for them? I want people to know that just because that happened to you doesn't mean it's the right way. And it's ways you can let go of that stuff. Let go of, bad traditions and start new ones. And,
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
Friendship is something to be cultivated. We can't make people be our friends, but we can cultivate great friendships that last forever.
I would agree, definitely. And And I agree with your ideology there, because I know myself personally with my own personal situations. A lot of times I have had grief and I've had pain and I've had tragedy, and it's so hard to turn it back around. It's so hard to find the positivity in some of that. It's difficult. It really is. And to try to send a more positive message out there is always, always necessary, I think. Which brings us, of course, to our last item, which is, of course, your book. I save the best for last. Friends in Your Pocket, Conversations, Session 1 is a gem. It's the only word I could think of to describe it. It's motivational, enriching, and I believe combines a good working amount of humor and life knowledge to it. And it does it in a blend that's so wonderfully mixed. Now, it's out of the ordinary. Oh, not a problem at all. I find it out of the ordinary for authors to tackle topics, like, for instance, in this particular case, tackling the topic of trauma being envisioned as a gift, per se. So maybe, if you would, elaborate further upon your belief relative to that particular ideal. And also, maybe say to our listeners your personal reasons for taking this journey that you call Friends in Your Pocket.
Okay. So, the gift of trauma, I mean, who would think that trauma is a gift? Like I said earlier, it's like soul stirring. You go through something, and it's like somebody's watching the whole time. How are you going to react to that situation? So, being a child that's a survivor of, molestation, I could have easily, taken that and, been guarded and closed off. But I looked at it as an experience that, okay, that wasn't a good experience. I didn't like it. You don't want to go through that. But I'm able to help so many people just by talking, especially when I work with the girls. It happens a lot. Girls are more open than the guys. I mean, it happens to boys and girls. But the girls are more open. And for them to be able to speak to another person who has been through that same situation and is not bitter and is not, blaming, and was able to go on and have a successful, relationship that led into a marriage, is amazing. So once I was able to see that what I went through it so I can be a help to somebody else. Because I can't really help you. We can help other people, if we don't go through similar experiences, but it's kind of difficult. And that's why you have survivor groups, for whatever you survive, whether it be cancer or some type of tragedy or whatever, because you need to be around people that have been through that, going through all those feelings, but have transcended that situation and turned their lives around and not stuck in that moment. So when I was able to really talk to people and had knowing that this had happened to so many other people, you don't feel alone. You feel, like, okay, I can do it. I can, make changes. And then now I can go out and help other people. So definitely, trauma in that sense was a gift. My parents separated, they never really got divorced, but they separated. And they never got back together again. How many, girls and boys are children of divorce? And, they go up the deep end, they start, using drugs or drinking, and that was me. From age 12 to about 17, I was an alcoholic, because I was so angry at my dad for leaving. And then it wasn't in that moment I said, wait a minute. I'm only hurting myself. My parents don't even know I'm an alcoholic because I was functioning. I was going to school. I was doing everything I was supposed to do, but that's what I was doing. And it started off trying to hurt them, but I realized I was only hurting myself. So in that situation, I was able to relate to other kids and talk to them as well. So everything I've been through in my life, I'm using it as a lesson plan so that I can teach other people. And it makes me feel so good. God gave me this burden because He knew I was strong enough to handle it. And I was strong enough and resilient to bounce back. And so it's been a blessing ever since. Hopefully, I'm done going through. But I do know that I'm strong enough for whatever comes my way.
That's so inspiring and so wonderful. Oh, and you speak so eloquently. You're showing me up here. Wow, ouch.
Okay.
One other thing I wanted to touch on about that now, when you say Friends in Your Pocket Conversation Session 1, that would infer that there's a possible legion of books to follow. So is that the case, do you think? I mean, do you think?
No, it is the case. I'm actually halfway done with Session 2, and it's Friend in Your Pocket Session 2, Your Visions Just Got Real, because this is just the beginning of the journey. this journey of human and the human spirit can go on forever and ever. So as long as I have breath in my lungs, I'm definitely going to, and, you know, stroking my left hand, I'm going to be writing Friend in Your Pocket. And I'm also going to, you know, going into writing Friend in Your Pocket mini edition for our little tweens out there, and our, you know, boys and girls who need summer reading books and, you know, going through that awkward stage in life, and they kind of don't have, you know, they kind of don't want to talk to their parent, but they kind of don't want to talk to their friend. They can definitely pick up Friend in Your Pocket, and they will be able to relate to a lot of stuff that's going on in that book. So I'm very proud of the series and what it's going to be. I can see it already. So that's how I know it's going to be just a phenomenal project.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So now I have just a couple of things to ask you before I let you go. First of all, I'm going to run through the ways in which people can find you, because social media is always important, of course. We all know, of course, that I have prefaced Qwana has a personal page, of course, on Facebook, so you can find her there. You can also find Friend in Your Pocket Conversation Session 1 on there, so you can like and look at that page. Your works can be found on the following places. I found Amazon, Goodreads, Smashwords, Barnes & Noble, Bookwire, Kobo, and, of course, www.friendinyourpocket.com. Have I missed anything?
iBooks. I'm on iBooks.
Okay. Crap.
You know, for all these Apple heads out there.
Which I'm not, so I apologize, but I must have missed that. Darn it.
You got to get on
now. Okay. Now, you do not have a Twitter handle at present, is that right?
Yes, I do. It's so sad because I couldn't fit Friend in Your Pocket. So it's _ FIYP, Friend in Your Pocket abbreviated, _ FIYP on Twitter. So you can find me on Twitter, and you can find me on Instagram. I'm an Instagram junkie. So you can find me Friend in Your Pocket on Instagram. So I'm trying to cover all bases. I'm also Friend in Your Pocket on Tumblr. So I'm on Tumblr.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So I wanted to get that. I want to make sure that, and actually just to remind you of this before I wrap up things here, just to let you know and your fans know, of course, now this episode will become archived, so it'll be on Blog Talk Radio for anybody to go back and listen. And then usually thereafter I try to get my episodes onto YouTube so that this way you can get more of a national following from there. And I will also post up on the show page and my personal page all the ways to find you, including website, et cetera, so that this way people have a reference point to be able to find you. Now, before I forget, there's only 2 more items of business, and I'll let you go. What's customary for my show, at the end of every bit of my show, is that Sin always gets an opportunity to give you her 30 seconds worth, which means I get to tell you what I think of you.
Okay.
So this is my opportunity to let you have it.
Okay, let me have it.
Prepare yourself. Okay, I'm definitely going to let you have it. First and foremost, I just want to say I'm very sorry because, unfortunately, I did get invited to the same show that you're going to be at on Monday, but unfortunately I can't be in New York. Otherwise, I would come on Monday, and I would love to be able to meet you in person. But off air, just to let you know, you'll be given an opportunity. I'm compiling a book, actually, of every one of the individuals who have come on my show, both of my shows, and the third I'm starting. The 2 shows, I'm having celebrities and interviewees. Anybody who's ever been on my show will get an entire spread, a nice little photo shoot, a nice little paragraph or 2 written about them. So I'm hoping, with any luck at all, that you will definitely take me up on that offer. So that's one thing.
That's done. It's a done deal.
Oh, awesome. All right, now I'm going to give you my 30 seconds worth, and then I'm going to let you go because I've gone off here on overtime. But I don't really care because it's my show, so I can do that. This is my 30 seconds worth. So this is what I think of Qwana. First and foremost, before I got you onto my show, as I mentioned, I was very blessed and privileged to be given information fed into my ear from other people as to who you were. Obviously, of course, that's only hearsay until you get an opportunity to really be able to sit and speak to someone. This is my revelation, or I should say my observations of you, rather. I find you to be nothing short of absolutely delightful. You're very poised. You're very respectful. You're extremely intelligent, well-mannered, and well-tuned. And by that, what I mean is you have a very seemingly good balance of life, spirituality, friendship, and talent. All of those combined together, completely well-balanced. Very, very good at what you do. This I'm told by the fact that I've read some of the things that you've done, in addition to which I'm told that. It's not just you being a good writer and putting words on paper. It's you being a good person and putting that good person into society and bringing that element as a gift and a blessing to all of us that have been fortunate enough to talk to you, to meet you, to read your work, or to participate in anything that you ever do. I am 100% confident that you are the best representation of you, and surrounding yourself with people like Bridget will only make you far more substantially, not only successfully, but more enriched as a person. As I've mentioned before, you are a reflection of who you surround yourself around. And you, my darling woman, are surrounded by the most wonderful people. And the best part is that you had the most blessed and wonderful foundation to work with. So I am a very, very lucky woman to have had shared this wonderful hour with you. And I will certainly help you in any endeavor, and I will certainly be here for anything you need help with in the future if you allow me to. That's it.
Thank you so much. Well, that was a lot. You want to, if you can, if we were Skyping, you would see the tears welling up in my eyes. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. You are blessed.
Well, I'm glad. I am glad, and I'm so glad that you got an opportunity to come on my show. Like I said, do not be a stranger. I am planning.
I won't.
Jamie is trying to drag me out there, very, very soon, and I know if Bridget has her way, she'll get me out there very, very soon. So you might very well see me in person before the end of summer. I would like that very much. I really would.
And I
definitely.
owe you a big old hug, so definitely I can.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my gosh. We can sit and we can shoot the breeze and just have fun and just be girls, and that would be lovely. I would love that.
I look forward to it.
All right, sweetheart. I will let you go, and I will be in touch soon.
All right. Have a blessed day. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget the hashtag Hope Nation, hashtag Friend in Your Pocket. Thank you so much, and I look forward to talking to all of you really soon. God bless. Take care.
All right. Take care. All right, folks, that was my exclusive interview with Qwana. I have to say that felt really good to be back on air, having been on air, I should say, after not been on air for such a long time. So I'm very, very excited. Thank you so much to Qwana for spending a little more than an hour's worth of time with me, which I don't think either of us minded, by the way. Just a refresher course for all of you, she does have a personal page on Facebook, so go ahead and look her up on there. She has also got her own page for the book, which is called Friend in Your Pocket, Conversations, Session 1. She can be found on the following: Amazon, Goodreads, Smashwords, Barnes & Noble, iBooks, Bookwire, Kobo, and the website being www.friendinyourpocket.com. I want to once again, as I always do not forget to thank Miss Bridget O'Brien wherever you are, and if you get a chance to listen to this interview. I hope I've done your client justice, and as always, I love you and I miss you very much, and I thank you so much for bringing me each and every one of these quality individuals that you do to come on my show. Tomorrow, after a long-waited adieu, we will be having the Nova, which just happens to be another client of Bridget's, on my show tomorrow. So please tune in again, 5 o'clock Central Standard Time, Sin Chat Corner. I look forward to seeing all of you then. Have a great evening.
All you need is love. We love the beat bugs. And Target is the only place you can find them and all their gear. Come join the fun and jam with us. Love is all you need. All you need is love. The beat bugs rock. Did you know you can only find their gear at Target? It's true. So hurry over.